having a clear outline of the tasks and responsibility from a manager's standpoint, it helps ensure that all our team members pull in the same direction.
Welcome back, everyone. I've got my friend and director of ops here for Lab Code Agents. Her name is Kace, or she goes by Kace. And I love the background office here in Lab Code Agents. Kace, great background. And today we're going to be talking about how she manages 7 VAs for Lab Code Agents. And she's going to kind of go through the complexities and the progress and what she uses to be able to keep track of what she's letting people know what to do. And in some cases, not micromanage because she doesn't, just come in from a point of contribution and helping people grow. So Kace, you've got the floor. How are you?
Good. Hi, Leverage. Hello, guys. So I'm really excited to be back. So I'm Kace. I'm part of Lab Code Agents. We are the largest real estate online community on the planet, and we're almost at 150K in our online community. And you can help us in reaching 10K in YouTube. So yes, help us. Yeah.
We're almost there.
Yeah, almost, just a little bit more. We also have for LCA, so just a brief background about us. We also have LCA Premium, where people can get exclusive high-level content from industry experts and pretty much the best in the business. So shameless plug, if you're not a member yet, that's LCA Premium, and we are available in both Play Store and App Store. So that's LCA. So just a background about our team. We're actually a team of 10. All of us work remotely. So there's 8 of us in the Philippines. So 7 other VAs aside from me, and then 2 stateside. For LCA, we actually have 4 divisions. The divisions that we have would be, we have the membership side that handles our Facebook online community and our app. We have our affiliates or partners. The third would be our creatives team. And then our fourth, that's our marketing or newsletter team. Okay, so I've prepared a little something for all of you that shows how the LCA team runs and is managed from the back end. Let me introduce you to the Lab Code Agents management cycle.
Oh, I like this. It's very good.
Okay, thanks. So we have culture, hiring, systems, and follow through. So we're going to go through each section, and just to set expectations, everything that I'll be showing today, it will be shared with you guys through the chat section.
Awesome.
Okay, so if you know Tristan, you would know that the most important component out of everything here, and it's the very core, the very foundation of everything that we do, that's culture. So this is us. This is our identity. This is our organization's identity. iSpark represents our core values, and we're going to start our management cycle here because this is the fundamental driving force behind everything that we do. We always go back to our core values because it fosters connection and trust between all of us. And as we talk about the different phases or stages of the Lab Code Agents management cycle, it would actually make more sense how we're able to operate with this as our center. And if you want to have a detailed copy of iSpark, it will be shared in the chat.
And
so
Kace,
that yes.
Well, this is a great point, because when we're running Lab Code Agents or any organization, right, real estate or not, you need to look at what your operating system is. I mean, all bigger companies have this. Like, we go back and we say, well, look, what are the challenges we're having, and let's stick to what we're really good at. Remember, we're always people first. We're kindness, right? We try to be aware of how we treat others and so forth. So look to see what your company stands for. This is why I love having Kace on, because she can always go back to this if at any point in time our team isn't functioning like they need to be functioning. We could go back to this and say, hey guys, remember this part. You know what's cool, Kace? I didn't tell you this. So there's a great podcast that just came out, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago. It was Tim Ferriss and Mark Zuckerberg, right? Because Mark Zuckerberg's working on the rebranding of Facebook, right? Meta. And he's trying to have people like him again. So part of that is going on podcasts. So one of those was with Tim, and they just redid their leadership principles, and they hit on, I wrote them out, so I'll share them with you later, but they redid them all, and they focused in on 4 or 5. And I thought that's so interesting, because when we're looking at iSpark, right, we just redid ours to be iSpark maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. And so it's important that any organization that you look to see how you operate. What are your core principles, whether they're just principles or leadership principles? And that's why I love having Kace on, because she's a consistent reminder to everybody. Hey guys, this is what we stand for. Let's go back to this.
Yeah,
Anyway,
thanks.
just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, that's true. And for example, like Nike, their core values, if you think about it, is like inspiration, innovation, authenticity, connectedness, and being distinctive. And their brand, Nike, I mean, it's synonymous to that innovation, right? So for us, this is all about who we are, what we do, and the very core, or the driving force behind everything that we do for lab code agents. So that's the first stage in our management cycle. Our next stage is actually hiring. So when you're ready to hire, it's important to have a job description. So here's a sample job description for a general VA or an admin, and Watch will hook us up and share it in the chat. In LCA, just to share, we are actually in the process of reviewing the existing job descriptions that all of us have. So aside from the obvious advantages of having a job description when you're hiring, I'm going to talk about on the flip side, what's the advantage of having this when you're managing a team. Okay. So in managing a team, it's a good practice to review the job descriptions and task outlines from time to time, because as time goes by, think about it. I mean, the roles, they evolve, the tasks, they change, and having a clear outline of the tasks and responsibilities that all of us have, from a manager's standpoint, it helps ensure that all our team members pull in the same direction. Okay. While we're doing the review, it also gives us um, ability to recognize good performance, how people have grown in their roles, how we're able to innovate processes, and how far also the company has come, because pretty much the roles have changed, the tasks and the responsibilities have evolved, and we're also able to identify opportunities for training and development. When you do review your job descriptions from time to time, it also aids in bringing low performing team members back on track. Okay. This is another sample of a job description for a graphic artist as reference. Okay. So let's say that you already have the JDs, and you received a bunch of resumes from applicants. Before scheduling an interview, it is best to prepare for the following. And under hiring, that would be the interview questions. So when you prepare before actually scheduling the interview, make sure that you prepare for your interview questions that checks on these things. That's the competency, the values or the culture fit, motivational fit, and infrastructure readiness. We've documented our hiring process in Lab Code Agents to give you ideas on the questions to ask and our hiring process. Okay, so let's just go through this briefly. When you hire for certain posts that requires a certain or a specific level of expertise, like editing videos or graphic design, we always have an expert join us to be able to ask and assess the applicant skill level. Okay, so I'm no graphic artist, so I would always invite Monch whenever I'd hired for someone. So something to that effect. Prior to the interview, I also review the portfolio and the resume of the applicant and highlight whichever I need more clarity on in the interview. I also find time to check the applicant's social media accounts, just to get a better picture of, his or her background and values. Um, and when we have multiple applicants that are vying for the same role, we also decide in advance, whoever is going to join me in the interview, we also decide in advance the questions to ask all of them so that it's actually easier to compare and contrast and select the best from the pool at the end of the day. At the bottom, you'll see that these are the things that we actually assess and rate for, their experience for the role, when we do the background check, what's the rating and all that. So most are self-explanatory, but what I'd really like to highlight is culture fit. So we assess if they are inherently aligned with our core values, iSpark. Are they innovative? Are they, based from their responses, did they show kindness? Were they resilient? And when you know when you give them a question regarding their previous experience of how they handled conflict, did they show self-awareness? Something to that effect. And that's how culture is tied into the second stage of our management cycle, hiring. And here are just, some of the questions we ask to check for these things. So you don't have to ask all of them. Just select whichever is applicable, and then of course you can tailor fit as you go along.
In case, one thing I want to add is the resilience part also can really help you determine the desire someone has to continually succeed and be an independent thinker. We don't want to micromanage, right? You don't want to hire someone, whether it's VA or not, and continually have to go back and say, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you think of this option? What about this? Right. And we found that with resilience, that the desire is already inherently there because they just went through whatever they went through and found their way to the other side. And just remember that part, because we sometimes overlook the desire, and that's what we try to lead with. Because there's no way I can keep track of everybody that's in our organizations. And this is why I like barely talk to Kace, believe it or not. Like, we text here and there, but I have faith in the fact that we hired well to be able to know that things are happening. Right. So that's one thing I wanted to add, Kace.
Thank you. Okay, so these are some other questions that we have. Just to give you an idea. Again, it's going to be shared. Um, so we just talked about culture and hiring, and then we're going to go to the next stage, which would be systems. Okay, so for systems, these are the tools that we use. So we communicate through iMessage. That's the leadership team with Tristan. And then for the rest of the team, we communicate via Slack. We also have meetings in Zoom, and we also have our webinars in Zoom. For storage, we use Dropbox and Google Drive. For process documents and flows, we use Google Doc, PowerPoint, and Lucid Chart. And then for project management tools, then there's Trello and ClickUp. But the project management software that we use to manage our team's day-to-day is ClickUp. It gives us visibility of our team's overall performance because it has a dashboard. We're also able to maximize productivity by automating processes. And then most of the tools that you see here on the slide are integrated in ClickUp as well. So you just open ClickUp and then it's just a one-stop shop from there. Um, because of the level of customization that you can do in ClickUp, by the way, we're not sponsored. Because of the level of customization that you can do there, hours are set based on our team's structure. So earlier, I told you guys about like the divisions that we have in LCA. We've got the membership, right? Affiliates or partners, creatives, and our marketing or newsletter team. The way our system or ClickUp is built is that each team has its own dedicated space in ClickUp. That way, it's actually easier to oversee the granular day-to-day processes, not just for the leaders in our team, but also for the individuals that belong to each unit. In turn, what it does is it creates a shared accountability between all the members of the team. So always keep in mind that when you build processes for your organization, the main objective should be, it should be process and systems dependent, never people dependent. Because if it's people dependent, it or rather when it's process or systems dependent, it protects you from risk and employee turnover. So if you already have systems in place currently, what you can do would be to evaluate the current processes that you have, and identify the steps which heavily rely on people and find ways to automate them to make it more efficient. And if full automation, it's not possible, then what you can do would be to set triggers or notifications, not just to one person, but to two or three that are able to oversee specific steps that are people dependent. What it does is that this way, if somebody needs to go on leave or someone is late, it'll be easier to transition and spot where the ball was dropped. And you also arrange your system to be built this way, not just to protect your business from turnover, but also for work-life balance. If it's people dependent, your employees, they just can't go on leave, and you don't want that. You don't want them to be burned out, right? Yeah.
That's
So
key.
yeah. So in terms of the management of the entire LCA, this is where the fourth stage, follow through, comes into play.
This is a really good
So
presentation.
thank you.
I hadn't
So
seen this before. Good job.
thanks. So everything that you see here under follow through supports and actually strengthens the processes and the relationships that the LCA team have. We have team meetings, and then we have team coaching sessions with Tristan. And then as follow through from there, as the director of operations, I then have one-on-one catch up sessions, in just informal catch ups on how's things going with your life, how's your personal life, how's your kid, and all that. So I have one-on-one catch-up sessions with the staff, and also coaching sessions with the leaders and staff. So on the next slide, I'm going to show you the coaching sessions. In the coaching sessions, we actually use Clifton Strengths by Gallup. It can be likened to DISC. Okay, it's pretty much just like this. But here is an example of one of our members' results. So in a nutshell, there are 34 strengths here under Navigate that you see. There's 34 strengths. The top 5 are what you call the DNA of that person's personality, or how he or she operates on autopilot. So let's use this as an example. Command is her number 1 strength, right? And being that command is her number 1 strength, what we do is we pretty much navigate how we can maximize the strength of hers, alongside her teammates, alongside other members of the team. Now, what's good about using this is I'm also able to see blind spots. So during coaching sessions, what we talk about would be we're able to connect critical incidents, pluses and deltas, or productivity lapses to their strengths and behavioral tendencies. And what happens is pretty much during coaching sessions, I ask questions just to facilitate that environment, going always back to their strengths and their blind spots. And they, in return, they're the ones who come up with action plans for the next steps to go to get over these speed bumps. During coaching sessions, we also set goals, and then we identify small tweaks that can be done to achieve it. So, really, the what works for us is we coach regularly, or I coach them regularly, and the leadership team also coaches the staff regularly, and we focus on small tweaks that can be done, right? Just so it's achievable and it's very easy to commit to, and it's sustainable because I guess the idea behind there is small bump, Tristan, what's happening to my mouth? All right, so like the small tweaks that they can do, eventually it becomes bigger strides, and that's still progress. So we focus on little things every coaching session, and then there's always that follow through. Okay. So another layer under follow through that connects everything in full circle would be the continuous improvement. Okay, so we do process reviews where we check for inefficiencies and things that we can improve and innovate, and we cover these in in the meetings, in the coaching sessions, and apart from that, we just recently conducted an employee engagement survey as well. So this is a sample. It's going to be shared in the chat there. So these are the statements or questions asked that the entire team evaluates anonymously. Okay. And they rate the following questions or statements on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being they strongly agree, and 1 they strongly disagree. And we have a section on culture, systems, management, personal development, job satisfaction, self assessment, and a section where they can give their comments and suggestions on pretty much the things that we should start, stop, and continue in LCA. um, all the questions and statements here are actually connected to our values ICE part. Now, basically, our main objective when we roll this out is to ensure that we are aligned and are able to continuously improve all aspects of the business. And and if you look at the questions here, it's a good evaluation and assessment also of, do we put our people first? Are we kind in all our transactions and all our dealings with them? What about our processes that and systems that we have in place? Are they still efficient? Are there things that needs to be changed? Are we open to innovation, and are you being heard when you give out suggestions? So these are the things that we evaluate. Um, so so our management cycle, you see that from hiring, how our system is built, the interventions and the activities that we have in place, even the feedback mechanism of LCA, everything is interdependent with our driving force behind all that we do, our team culture, iSpark, and that's innovation, systems, people first, awareness, resilience, and kindness. So in a nutshell, that's how Lab Code Agents is managed.
All right. Question for you. How do you manage burnout from the staff, both virtual and in-house?
Yes. So before it happens, burnout usually happens, it escalates, right? You'll be able to spot, if you know your people well. So that's the most important thing, I'd have to say. You need to have a relationship with every member of your team, because if you have a relationship with every member, it is very easy for you to be able to spot these things, if they're about to get burned out, if they need a break, um, or sometimes you need to tell them, hey, have you taken your lunch already? Sometimes I even check, in our Slack channel. I see i see you've been on, have you taken your lunch yet? And when there's consistent conversations in the group chat that's happening, I check with them from time to time. Hey, are you all right? Are you doing fine? Have you taken a break and all that? And I manage burnout, because I know them well. Remember that we go through the strengths coaching. I know also what drives them, what intrinsically motivates them, from their personal life. And because coaching sessions are done periodically, we always go back to, what about your goals in your personal life, aside from your goals professionally? Where are you at there? So we check on both areas, and that's how I get to manage burnout. I guess a good example would be, one of our director of member services, Sandra. Ever since we started our coaching sessions, you will see, on her social media account, she now starts going on leave, because we also changed the processes and the systems that we have in place. And she's able to travel a lot. And we're not scared of that, her traveling. In fact, another director that we have, Tessa, who's the lead of our affiliates or partners division, is actually now in Rome. So those are things that we encourage. We're not scared that things are going to fall through the cracks. In fact, those are things that we actually encourage. And that's the main reason why I'm here. Does it happen where they have doubts? Does it happen also where they feel like I can't go on leave because some things can't be done? Well, that's to me, that's why I'm here. I basically just assure them, well, you have me, we have each other, we
Yeah,
got your back. Yeah.
that's true. That's very true. A question: how do you teach your VAs to be consistent? Oh, I don't know. Hold on. Let me answer this, and then in case you jump on. I don't know that you can teach that necessarily if you hired wrong in the first place. So this is why we went through the hiring process first, right? Partially. And the other part to that is it falls in the processes and systems that you already have, which is why we use ClickUp as well. So how would you answer that, Case?
Um, so for consistency, let's see. So it's a good question because we recently just hired three new VAs for our team. So for consistency, we follow the 30, 60, 90 principle for training. And we always make sure that we're able to monitor. But when I say monitor, we pretty much just oversee and check on them. And we have a checklist in place. And at the start of the day, we talk to them about, like, what are your priorities for the day. And at the end of the day, they tell us, okay, these are the things that happened. And then we have the meetings that happen at the end of every week where they provide updates as well. So it's really a cadence of accountability that gets developed. Um, and that's how they remain consistent. And then we check on them from time to time. And also, the support system of the leadership team to the staff.
Now, you know what a good book is for those of you wondering where you want to start is by Jim Harder. It's called It's the Manager. I just put the link in there. It's by Jim Clifton and Jim Harder. And you know Clifton because Clifton's the guy that came up with the Clifton Strength Finders. So we interviewed Jim Harder late last year, and he was brilliant. But anyway, get that book. That's a great book if you want a good place to start. And it's called It's the Manager. All right, Kace, anything else you want to add? You're good? I love your
Yep.
presentation. Thank you for doing this. And
Yep.
remember, this is brought to you by Virtudesk. If you need a VA, jump in there. It's myvirtudesk.com. Thank you, Kace. Very, very,
Thanks,
very happy that you
Tristan.
did this.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, Ken said you did an awesome presentation. We put in a whole bunch of links in there, so make sure you grab those. They're in the chat. And if you by any chance miss them, I know our team will probably send that out with those that register to watch this. We'll make sure to include all of those as well. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Have an awesome day, everyone.